So if I go to Instagram,
welcome. We are live. Let me make sure we go live on Instagram also. Welcome to our second Airway Circle personal growth series. This is something that stays with me everywhere I go. Everything that I do, I always bring personal growth. I tell you guys this all the time, that I don't believe you can grow professionally if you do not grow personally. And then in January, I happened to be on a clinical panel with the two guests that I have over here with you guys today. And I mean, I'm looking around and going like, have you guys been in my brain this whole time? Like, where did you come from? Because in this healthcare field, I feel like a lot of people don't like talking about this stuff. We hide it. I'm just a clinician. I'm just going to talk about, clinical stuff. But gosh, we're people too. So thank you guys for being here. I know that we aligned in a very different way for a reason. So I am so grateful that you accepted my short notice invitation to come chat with us today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
I am honored.
Thank you. Cris, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
My name is Cris Duval. I'm a retired dental hygienist, but I'm certainly still active. The only thing I'm retired from is chairside. So I still write and speak and coach, and I call myself an architect of change because I tried to be a traditional dental hygienist, but there were too many other great options. So I left that behind.
I love this. Dr. Jiveh, can you please introduce yourself to everybody?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Jiveh. I'm a cosmetic dentist here in West Palm Beach. And I just moved into this new place. That's why there's nothing on the walls. And, you bring up, it's such an incredible topic because I really haven't heard too much about this topic. But it's been amazing since I found the shift, if you will. And I like the word architect, the mind architect. Ooh.
I do. As you guys are talking, I'm looking down because I'm sharing in 30 of our Airway Circle groups are live right now. So go ahead.
That's beautiful.
But as soon as you sat next to me, and it's funny because they started asking us questions, and like not much clinical came out of it. We were the clinical panel. I think we should have changed our name to the energy panel. I mean, all we talked about, you started talking about energy, and then Cris mentioned limits and beliefs, and I'm like, hold on, how do they know this stuff? So how did you fall into this world of looking within?
Go ahead.
Well, in 2001, I burned out, quit my job. My favorite song at the time was "Take This Job and Shove It." And but I had to go back after 6 weeks, and I had read a book by Dr. Henry Cloud, and he says it's okay to go back to your same profession, but don't go back unless you create a way to have things be different. And so that's what I did. Was I found 4 things that were holding me back. Number 1, my limiting beliefs. I was using protocols with yesterday's information, and I was not using updated technology. And my messaging was way off according to what the science was. So I just made a huge change. And the great thing was when I realized that I could change. A lot of people think that they can't change. And when you want to bad enough, if you're unhappy enough and in the worst kind of position, you'll find a way to change. So that's what I did.
How about you, Doctor? How did you fall into this world of looking within?
It's I was reading a book called The Second Mountain, and I don't know if you've heard of it or if you've read it. It's an amazing book. And Yeah, and it talks about how you basically awaken, how you wake up. It's either through an awakening to self-realization or through a traumatic experience of
Mm.
someone just wakes your ass up, excuse me, wakes you up.
It's okay. It's safe. It's a safe space.
I cuss like a sailor, but I'll be careful. It's just amazing. You go through things and you realize where you have been, and you realize, um, you know, there's a saying. It says, "You change your inner self, you become in your power, and the outer world will change." And it's so true. I lunched with a really good friend of mine, and we were talking about that. We were talking about how things really don't bother us when you become bulletproof, when you become your higher self. And
That's so true.
it's so true. It's about energy.
Mhm.
It's about becoming, and of course, there is an awakening period that you just start to see things differently.
Yeah.
I used to be one of the worst complainers in the world. I was known as the side work Nazi whenever I worked in a restaurant. I was known as the, whatever, um, whenever you put your instruments in the, what is it called when you put your
Ultrasonic.
instruments? Yes, and sterilization Nazi. I mean, you name it. I always, went by the book. I mean, if this is how it's supposed to be done, not only I have to do it that way, but everybody around me has to do it the same way, because I always thought that that is the right way and there's no other option. And it really would affect me internally. My physiology would change when even somebody else did something that it didn't align with me. So I have been through a very long journey, and I love that you said that nothing else bothers you. I was just volunteering at a retreat this last weekend, and it was so funny because this lady walked up to the counter. I was signing people in, and she looked at her name and she goes, "My name is spelled wrong. It's supposed to be a Z instead of an S." And I said, "Oh, we did that here, sister." It's to start unblocking you immediately. And she goes, "No, because if I go somewhere and my name is not correct, I mean, she just lost it." And I'm like, "I'm not going to give her a new one. No, she's going to have to deal with it. Like, this is the reason why you're here, is to release all of this emotional trauma that you're carrying." And so she said, "I have to change it." I was like, "Do you want a marker?" So I gave her a permanent marker because if I did it, it was going to be worse. So I put it in her hands. So then she went and she put a Z on top of the S. And then she looked down. She's like, "It's awful. It is awful. It looks so ugly. I just need a new name tag." And like, she was just freaking out. And a girl next to me went and got her a new name tag. But immediately that moment, I already knew that that lady really needed a big release. And we went inside. There were probably about, over 100 people there. And at one point, the speaker talked about the need of approval of others, which is one of the limiting beliefs out there, right?
Oh,
And he said, "Okay, whoever here in the room would be okay coming up on stage right now and doing something silly?" And a few people lifted their hands up. He's like, "Okay, you put your hands down." Everybody that didn't lift their hands up, stand up. And then people were like scared. "Oh my gosh, she's gonna call me up there. I'm not, I don't want to go." He said, "You know what? Everybody come up here." So he had everybody go up on stage and he put Mario's song, which is a really silly song. And he said, "Everybody act ridiculous. Like, I want you to act ridiculous, to make faces and to like move awkwardly, you know?" And people had such a hard time. It was insane. So as people were trying to, do these things, so if they do it, he was like, "Okay, now you can go down. Now you can go down." And my eyes are on that lady. As I knew, and she was just like dancing like this, and then trying to sneak and go sit down. And as she went to sneak through him, "Okay, you're good." I was like, no, she's not good. She's not good. Get up there. So I kept her up there. She ended up they had everybody go on stage, she went all the way in the back. Like she was trying to hide behind everybody, and everybody started passing the task and leaving, and she stayed. Whenever it was her turn, she walked by the guy, and he says, "Take your hat off." She was wearing a cap, and she just lost it. She started crying.
Wow.
And I knew there was something there. So eventually she broke down, and she took her hat off, and she had no hair.
Oh.
It was so powerful. The whole room was crying. And it's something that, it's almost like you have half of a head of hair, and everybody's looking at you that way, but you're the only one that notices. You're the only one that knows, So if you see yourself that way, if you see yourself in a negative light, other people are also going to see you that way. So if you change, that's why they say love you first. If you start changing yourself, all of a sudden people start changing. But that was just an insane experience. And I knew something was going to happen to her, because as soon as she came in, she was already complaining about her name tag.
Yeah, I learned years ago, at least I'm just speaking for myself and what I learned, that as soon as I learned to love and care about myself first, what other people did and how they lived their lives didn't bother me. I could just look at them and go, isn't that interesting how they live their life? Instead of having to have an opinion about it and judge them for it. And then I turned from being a thermometer that my feelings would go up and down all day long into a thermostat. So I could set that in the morning and decide who I was going to be for the day, how I was going to think. And I didn't have to be a human yo-yo with what I thought about others and what they were doing. It was hugely powerful for me.
It takes so much energy. People don't realize how much energy it takes from you to be the sterilization Nazi at work, to going home and being a wife and being a mother. Every single area of your life, the person that you have to be, it's okay for you to be different in all of those places. But it takes a lot of energy from you to go from here to here and vice versa. So I love that, waking up in the morning going like, who am I going to be?
And I think as women, it's difficult because, and I'm getting off the subject, but I'll get back to it. As women, it's difficult that you have to be masculine at work, like especially they have to make some decisions. They have to make their team, and they have to go home and be feminine with their kids, with their husbands, partners, all of that stuff, and that's not an easy thing to do. And I want to talk about triggers. I was talking to Dr. Rad. He was on the panel.
It's a good friend of ours.
He's great. So I was talking to him, and we were talking about triggers. And to me, I always said your triggers are the single greatest GPS to really look inside to see what is it that it is just shifting my mind into being upset and triggering me, and how can I? And he took it a step further. He said you should welcome triggers. We were talking, one of my team members, I said, and I'm very good with I'm consciously I'm very good with my surroundings, and she was my test. And he said you should welcome that. You should seriously welcome that and sit down and talk to her and be very frank and open and transparent, because that's what a team is. And I love my team, and we talk about it and we share ideas. And but whenever I get triggered, I always look at what is it,
why
in me, that is feeling like that. And it's such a reverse engineering that it's so not normal to the norm that we're out there doing how we are used to doing things with the system. And it's a huge shift. It's a huge, huge shift to start to think differently. And and it's been amazing. It's been transformational. For for me personally, I went to one event. Honestly, it was like 30 years of therapy in 3 days.
Yes, yes.
It's crazy. It's called Awaken, and you just literally wake up and you
Mhm.
realize it. This is so hard for people, and if you don't mind, I'll get into it a little bit. It
Please.
is it is so difficult for certain clinically minded dentists to realize this. I was speaking last 2 weekends ago. It was all clinical. It was all clinical. We were talking about the mind and the heart. And it was one of the most moving. I mean, people were not expecting this. They're so left brain and clinical. They wanted to know about what material do I use? What bonding agent? Tell me what bonding agent do I use? And I said, and we started talking about the mind and the heart. I said, you know, I promise you, whatever material you use, it's gonna be okay. Start thinking with your heart. I had people in the audience were crying. This was the first time I introduced this lecture, which I'm gonna do that at the retreat. This was the first time I introduced it, and there were people crying. I mean, I've never experienced that myself. Even after they came up to me just sobbing, and because I was being a little vulnerable, and we started talking about this. But to get back to my point, it is so difficult for dentists to understand one point, and the point being, everything you want is inside of you.
Ah.
Anything you want is inside of you. It is such a hard concept. That, and a second concept, which comes from limiting belief, and I'll go into a little story about that if it's okay. It's Everybody thinks the harder you work, the better it is. They have this in their mind that you work
True.
5 Saturdays. Let's open Saturdays. Let's accept all the insurances. It is so not. It is the furthest from the truth. You can literally
Mhm.
work 3 days a week and do probably 3 or 4 times as much as somebody that's open
Mhm.
6 days a week. It's so true, and people can't grasp it. And I really looked into it. I said, "What is it?" And I thought about myself. I thought about my. We came as immigrants to this country.
Same.
My dad worked 7 days a week for years, 7 days a week. And it was programmed in my head that the more you work, this is how it is. You have to get life going like this. You have to work hard to get more. But it is the total opposite. So it was ingrown in me. And I've talked to my colleagues, and they are working so hard, and they keep asking me, said, why, how are you taking these trips? When do you have time to do this? And we are so chill at the office, and it's
Mhm.
so amazing. And it I couldn't be more grateful. And that's where abundance comes from.
Yeah.
When you start to think with your heart. It used to be, every patient I looked at, it was a dollar sign. I said, oh my God, are they going to say yes? Are they going to say yo? I do not care anymore.
Yeah.
I go to them with my heart. I sit next to them in the reception area, and we just, I don't care. I don't care what
They
they
are people.
people. And it's amazing how they just open their hearts. And when they trust you, and you are there to give them their best option. And when they trust you, it's fine. And I don't believe I've ever done this better in my office by seeing less patients. And it's so
Oh.
hard for dentists to grasp this.
Well, and it's so great when you lead with your heart, because they talk about the brain being uh, an unruly and spoiled child that is trying to control your heart. And make things, your brain doesn't want you to listen to your heart, but as soon as you start
100%.
listening to your heart and silence that unruly child, your life will change for sure.
To me, it's like the brain wants to conserve energy, and there is so much more energy in the heart. I feel, I'm going to go spiritual here, but I feel like your heart is connected to your spirit, and your brain is more like of your soul. And your soul, I mean, your brain is constantly going like, no, that's going to take too much time. You know, those thoughts that come to you, you're not good enough. Like, you're going to make a fool of yourself if you get up there. Like, you're not supposed to open your mouth. And I want you guys to pay attention to something. Whenever you see that one trigger that the doctor was talking about, whenever you feel that trigger coming, stop and think about it. Because usually those triggers, usually those blocks that you have in life, they have intimacy with your purpose. Okay? Are you a person who stutters? Are you a person that was humiliated in school about talking because you couldn't read? Guess what? Your purpose is probably to be on stage. You know, I feel like the bad side comes in and puts blocks into people because they don't want you to fulfill your purpose.
Yeah. Well, and I too had challenges when I was younger. But today, when I have those thoughts come into my mind, I say to that child, you can go play. I've got this. Because I think differently than I did as a child. And I just want to set that child free to go play and not bother me with their challenges that the child is having. So,
what are some other limiting beliefs that you guys are common either in dentistry and healthcare, or some that you have had to face that have become clear in your life?
Well, I'll tell you about when after I quit my job in 2001 and I started a new job with a doctor in Seattle, Dr. Brian McKay. He took me to lunch the first week I worked there. And this isn't what he said, but it's what I heard. I heard him say, I want you to paint a bigger canvas of who you can be for our patients.
Wow.
And not what you can do, whether or not you're using lasers or what kind of prophy paste you're using, but who you can be for your patients. And that really, I had to stop right there and look at what my limiting beliefs were, because I thought, I was going to have a boss that wouldn't let me do more. I was limited by what the insurance companies would let me do. Mm-hmm. My patients had low dental IQ, so they were going to be a challenge. And I just had to let go of those and really transform my thinking from the negative into the positive. And then when he said, I'll give you continuing education, the technology that you need, and a personal coach, man, I was done thinking that way. So, that made a huge impact on me. But painting a larger canvas of who we can be. And I thought, who you're going to be for patients. It's like you were talking, Dr. Jiveh. It's not about what you're going to do. It's about who you're going to be for your patients. Like in my case, I decided I was going to be a lifeguard and I was going to guard and guide my patients' health and wellness. And so who you're going to be drives what you're going to do and what materials you're going to use and what procedures you're going to use. So, man, like you said, who you're going to be is really the key to all of this, I think.
I love that.
One example I can think about is one of the limiting beliefs, and I remember this. I had just passed the Florida boards a long time ago, and I was about to open my office, and the sales rep from a company, he was saying, well, first thing you got to do, you got to sign up with all the insurance. And that, I'll never forget that. And again, I'm not an anti-insurance. I know there are people that make it so beautifully. They have a great office, and I just, if I was in contractual basis with all insurances, I would not be practicing today. I know I wouldn't. So I have a lecture that says a pathway to fee for service, and I want to change it to pathway to life.
Oh,
And limiting belief is you have to accept these insurances to do that. You don't. And it is, you know, you talked about this. It is as it's not doing, it's a state of being. It's being
mm-hmm.
your power. It's being believing what you're doing. And it's not the easiest thing. You know, you have to market it, you have to patients have to know about it. But I could not do what I do if I was not fee for service. It would, for me, it would be impossible. So to say that you are dependent on the insurance company to do all of this, absolutely false. I'm a living proof that
Yep.
this. Our patients pay so much, and I give them my best. I use the best material, everything custom, and it's just, it's not true. Some of this societal norms that we see, not just dentistry, just outside as well, just all these norms that is out there. This is what we're looking at. This is how we're supposed to do this. It is absolutely false. It is the matrix. I'm sorry, but that's not the way things should be. I could
Mm-hmm.
see more than I could never see more than 4 patients a day. If I'm I have to see one-on-one. I cannot jump from room to room. It's just impossible for me. And I don't
I
know.
love it.
God bless people that do, they see 7 or 8 patients a day. And just going back quickly about the mind, that it is the heart is where love is. And the mind tries to put fear in your heart,
Mhm.
doubt in your heart. Ego is the mind.
Mm-hmm.
You lose that ego, oh my goodness. It's just the life you start to live. You start to live. I say this with all confidence. When you lose your ego, life begins. I promise you that.
It's crazy, isn't it? And I heard that by age 7, you're already going to be blocked with all these limiting beliefs. Usually, your parents are going to do it, your teachers are going to do it. One limiting belief that I had growing up was, don't touch money. Money is dirty. Don't put your hands in your mouth after you touch money. And I do that to my kids. That is the issue. If you don't start recognizing uh, that you have something like that, you're going to pass it on. So it is so important for us to look within to be able to break free, literally break free of these limiting beliefs that are preventing you from growing. Seriously, like, you're supposed to be flourishing. What does a tree do? A tree gives fruit. How much fruit are you giving? Prosperity and growth, it's natural. Look at a tree, it's natural. It doesn't have to try hard. If you are trying super, super hard, then we got to ask some questions.
Yeah, and I think we need to get back to, in some ways, being like children. One of the things that Dr. McKay always would tell me is get curious.
Mm-hmm.
And when children, they ask over 300 to 400 questions a day. Why is this? How does this work? And I think as the older we get, and particularly in dentistry, because of traditions and norms of how we're supposed to treat our patients, we lose that curiosity and we stop
Mm-hmm.
asking questions because I think a lot of times we're guided by those limiting beliefs. We think we know how things are.
Well, it's because we're reprehended whenever we're younger. Be quiet. First you want your child to talk. When they start talking, it's like, be quiet. Don't ask me anything. Seriously, gonna ask me again? Like, we cause these things in our kids. So then you grow up and you're like, I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm just gonna accept everything that comes my way. So 100% agree. We need to be more like kids. And here he is. That's silly.
That's awesome.
You want to say hello? He can't hear you guys, but he had his face painted today into
Nice.
Sonic, right, Benny? Are you asbestos Sonic?
Wow.
No. You need to go get faster then. Go run around, see if you can get asbestos Sonic, okay?
And if I may add regarding kids, and because a lot of the stuff, I mean, I love my parents. They're both gone, but
Of course,
I truly love them. But most of my insecurities come from them. Most of
100%.
most of my victim mentality comes from my parents.
But you know, the funny thing is that they did it out of love.
They did it out of love. They didn't know. It didn't come with a script. But right now, the single greatest way we can live our life is be an exemplar. Be an exemplar to our kids, because action to them is much more impactful than words. You can say whatever you want. When you are on your healing path, this is such an important thing that I grasp. When you are on your healing path and you are on your way to your higher self, unconsciously, it will affect and heal people around you.
Yes.
It's the craziest thing. And now that I'm telling people, just with your action, just with your being, it affects people.
Isn't it crazy? Isn't it crazy? And that is the reason, guys, why I invited these incredible people to come join us at the Airway Circle retreat. I've always wanted to do something like this, and the time came. So it's going to be April 11th, 12th, 10th, 11th, and 12th in Hilton Head Island, which is, my goodness, absolutely gorgeous, right by the beach. We're going to have a really cool house with a pool, a heated pool. We're going to have a massage therapist on staff. We're going to have a photographer that's going to do headshots for everybody. There you go. You guys know how expensive it is to get headshots. Plus, they're going to be, doing video and photos of the retreat. But it's going to be a place, a safe place for you to come and bloom. One of my mentors says that in a safe environment, whenever you share something deep, it causes cure and transformation. So if you are ready to get cured and to transform and literally go back renewed, go back with a new sense of self. And the first question that I'm going to ask everybody there, I was trying to figure out if I was going to share tonight or not. But the first question that we're going to ask all of the retreat attendees, I'm going to ask you guys tonight too. So everybody grab a pen and a paper and write this down. You don't have to answer. I just want you to write this down. I want you to tell me who you are without telling me what you do. And if the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, I'm a myofunctional therapist, I'm a dental hygienist, I'm a dentist, we need to find your identity, because you were called here for something bigger. It is incredible to be a myofunctional therapist. I absolutely love what I do. I love taking care of my patients. But those patients are coming to me, I believe, for a bigger reason. Of course, myofunctional therapy is the main, it's what drives them to me. However, there's always something bigger. And if you really know deep down who you are, who you're called to be, and that's what we want to help you guys find. So if you feel like you're in that part of your life, right now in that season of your life that you are burned out, you're tired, you're getting grumpy all the time, you're just not happy, you're going to work and it just feels like work. If you want more, come join us. It's going to be so much fun.
That's amazing. You when you brought that up, it took me back to a retreat I went to. It was an all men's retreat. And it was one of the most powerful things I've ever been to. And the very last question, the coordinator, and I remember this, he was sitting on a seat, and he was asking every single person, who are you? Who are you? And answer was supposed to be a character of themselves. And the things that were coming out, it was so authentic and it was so genuine. I am power. I am a healer. I am light. It was so amazing. I personally cannot wait. This is going to be so incredible. And I'm going to tell a lot of people, as I have been all day today.
Yes, thank you. We do have a private chef that's going to be cooking very healthy food for us. There's no alcohol. We are going to have music and some mock drinks. I think they're called mocktails. We are going to have plenty of time to sit around and share with everybody. And I always say, this types of events is also a great networking event. You have no idea who God is going to bring together to be in the same room for you to be able to spend time with us. We use Airway as an excuse over here. I believe that, we have incredible Airway speakers that are going to be there. But the retreat is about you. It is about transforming you and your life. I'm going to share the screen. I actually don't know if I can share my screen here. Present. Let's see if this share screen. I think allow. Hang in there with me, guys. Let me see. Beautiful. I don't know if it lets me actually. I don't think I can. I think I have to open it in a.
Can I say one thing while you're working
Please
on?
do. As I look for the screen, please do.
One of the things of why I still actively participate and do what I do is that I would like people that are listening here tonight to think about this in relationship to coming to the retreat. But I believe that my gifts come from someplace special. And I believe that it is my responsibility to share those gifts before I leave this earth. And I don't leave this earth with even one arrow left in my quiver of gifts I've been given. That's what we need from each other, is to come and share your gifts, multiply them, and let us all benefit from what gifts you have been given that we may not realize and know about. But
I love that.
That's so amazing.
Spend your arrow with us. And it's a great book. It's called The Last Arrow by McManus. And it really changed. I think that some of us of a certain age are a rich resource. And please don't stop giving your gifts away. Come and share your gifts with us. It'll be really great.
I love that. It's just like the tree giving fruit. What happens if you stop giving fruit? What happens if you retain all of that amazing energy? Because everything is energy, right? If you remain all of the energy that was given to you, it's like you're having this waterfall pouring all of these amazing things into you, but you have is it called a dam? Holding that water. Let it go. As soon as you let it go, more of it can pour. You know what I mean? You allow more to come into your life when you actually open the waters. I can't think of the word.
And surrender. And I love that word because we hold on to that. We hold on to our beliefs. We hold on to our limiting beliefs so much. It's just to surrender and let go and be in your power. I love that word. That is so. It's so difficult to comprehend. Like a couple of years ago, I wouldn't even know. Well, what do you mean? And my friend kept telling me. She kept saying, stop doing. There is no. It's funny. There's no recipe. There's no instruction. We're so used to do this, add this, do this. There is none of that. It is feeling. It is not doing. It is just being and surrendering.
If you are here and you've never heard money doesn't grow on trees, I heard that growing up my whole life. So it makes you, a scarcity. If you feel bad about spending any money, anything like that, and you just want to hold on to it, that's a limiting belief, everybody. Rejection, if you're ever forgotten, like my parents lost me like 4 different times when I was a child. And I was always so afraid of going to new places, of driving by myself. Whenever I was driving to a place that I couldn't, I didn't know yet, I'm telling you, these things that happen in your past will block you. So we are here to kind of help you recognize where they are, and then you can decide to let them go by yourself.
Yeah. Come and share your gifts. Another thing that impacted me was when it's the guy that started the Habitat for Humanity. He says it's easier to act yourself into a new way of thinking than it is to think yourself into a new way of acting.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Come and, share your gifts, even if it's something new for you. It'll be a great opportunity and a great learning, and it'll set you free.
100%. I'm so excited for this. Can you guys see my screen at all?
Ken, I'm so impressed with your computer technological skills.
I had to figure out if it was working. Okay, so here we go, everybody. Transform, Connect, and Thrive, Hilton Head Island, April 10th, 11th, and 12th. Here's Dr. Uma Katwa, who is going to be the Airway speaker. He is a pediatric pulmonologist and pediatric sleep physician from Boston Children's Hospital. He's a Harvard doctor. Super excited to have this brilliant mind over there. And he's all into the stuff that we're talking about. That is why he's our partner in this. We are going to, here's the house. Look at this home. So all of the meetings are going to be at the home. We have a few rooms left only. I think actually we only have 2 rooms left in the house if you want to stay in the house still. Otherwise, we have some amazing Airbnbs and hotels right next door. If you guys want to see exactly what we're going to be doing, there is an agenda that you can download. You can register right down here. And instead of $5,000 for doctor, just until the end of the weekend, it's going to be $2,500, so half off until the end of the weekend for physicians, for everybody. Speakers, we also have Dr. Lincoln Harris, who is the CEO of Ripe Global. That is a multi-million-dollar company. So he's going to be talking about business, about standing up on stage and how do you act and walk around on stage, and just sharing with us how he was able to grow something so big. Dr. Camden Brown is a Harvard-trained orthodontist. She's also a coach and a former practice owner. Now she helps people transition from stress and overwhelm to resilience and fulfillment. She does nervous system focused embodiment practices. So she's going to be doing a breath work session in the morning. She is going to be doing one-on-one sessions, speaking to everybody about doing her coaching with you guys one-on-one. Here is the agenda. So Thursday actually starts in the afternoon, late afternoon. We're just going to get together, have some snacks, and then we're going to have our first fireside chat called The Evolution of Airway and Sleep Health with Dr. Uma. The next morning, we're going to do a sunrise beach walk. And then we're going to have the breath work with Dr. Camden Brown, a healthy breakfast, and then we're going to have a couple workshops. So comprehensive approaches to pediatric airway health. And then we're going to do real world challenges in airway care. So this is for us to share cases. If you are a healthcare provider, if you're a dentist or a myofunctional therapist or somebody in the field, you want to bring a challenging case to share with Dr. Uma, please bring so we can all talk about it. Dr. Lincoln is going to be talking about his strategies for sustainable growth. And then we have some relaxed time from 3 to 6, full time. We're going to have massage therapy. We have a vibration plate. We have red light therapy. Or you can explore the island. The island is amazing. Then we have dinner, music, and mocktails. And Saturday, our last day, morning meditation, or we're going to do a nature walk. Again, healthy breakfast. The panel is going to discuss the future of multidisciplinary airway care. And we're going to be talking a little bit about myofunctional therapy, and then the manifestation and personal growth workshop. We're going to dive into the power of manifestation, inspired by a personal growth handbook that we're putting together for you guys. We're going to learn strategies to align your mindset with your goals. So it's not only about talking. We're actually going to give you guys steps that you can take whenever you go back home. And then again, some more relaxation time, a nice farewell dinner. And that is it. I mean, you're going to come back home refreshed, energized, and ready to take on the world. That is it. Thank you, guys.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I kind of like this view over here that I can see you guys really well. Alrighty, if anybody would like to come to the retreat, we have 3 spots left. Please send me a message. You can go on the website and sign up. After 3, it's going to block. So please give me a call. And if you have any more questions, I'll be happy to answer anything. But we're super excited. I know that God is the one that's bringing this group together. And we are here to serve you guys and to learn with you guys and to grow with you. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this talk. Have a wonderful night. But before we go really quickly, Cris and Dr. Jiveh, do you guys want to share anything about what's going on in your careers, in your lives right now? Do you have anything you'd like to invite our listeners to?
Go ahead.
I actually have a few things going on.
I put you on the spot. Sorry.
No. It's okay. We have a men's retreat coming up in November. Me and Dr. Rat, we're doing a men's retreat. There are 15 spots. It's in a beautiful, beautiful Airbnb in Miami. It's about brotherhood, wealth, health, and in the wealth side, it's not just talking about how to invest or things like that. It's about how to realize money is energy, and you are energy, and how to relate those two things. And basically, everything we talked about. We're gonna have yoga, healthy stuff. Just it's gonna be amazing. That's one thing.
And it's so needed for men only retreat. It's so needed.
Yeah, and it's just, we're gonna go to Miami. We're gonna have a nice dinner. We're gonna namaste, and it's gonna be transformational. Personally, I have a personal coaching that is in the works right now with my partner, and we're putting that together, and it's just.
Give your Instagram out. How can people find you?
It's Smiles by Jiveh. I'm revamping that as well.
Perfect. We'll make sure that we send everybody there. I'll also share all this information in our Airway Circle Professional Facebook group. If you're not in there yet, please run. It is a private group only for professionals. So if you're a dentist, if you're a hygienist, if you're a speech pathologist, physical therapist, chiropractor, anybody in the airway field, run over there and come hang out with us. We do talks every Thursday night. There are lectures, there are webinars, all medical stuff. So not about what we're talking over here today. However, research studies, and we're always networking and trying to find professionals to help our patients. So come hang out with us over there. Cris, anything else that you'd like to share?
Yes, I have a coaching company called the Lifeguard Approach, and it is how to guard and guide your patient's health and wellness. A lot of it is about how to teach your patients how to advocate for themselves. Mm-hmm. I think one of the big challenges that we have with patients, they're so used to traditional dentistry where you come in and the dentist or the hygienist tells you what's wrong. And I just believe it's so much better to teach your patients how to advocate for themselves, how to speak up for themselves, how to ask you for your help, to partner with you to get healthy and well. And then I also serve on the advisory board for the Children's Airway First Foundation, which is a passion of mine. Yes. And our founder just had a book published. It's called Moms Save My Brain by Candy Sparks. It is, and Dr. Umakan is part of that whole process. So, yeah. So check out Children's Airway First Foundation. I'm on all social media, and it's called The Lifeguard Approach. The Lifeguard Approach.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much. I love your lives. Thank you for hanging out with us, and I cannot wait to see you in Hilton Island.
Yeah, it'll be so great. Safe travels, Dr. Jiveh.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'll be in an intensive in Lake Tahoe. If the intensive and Tahoe go together,
yeah,
nice conference.
That's exciting.
Amazing. Yay! Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Have a
so much.
wonderful night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.